Welcome back to the Crypto Treehouse, boys and girls. My name is Red Baron. Thank you for joining me. As usual, we're going to have a little bit of radio silence so I can go ahead and alert the troops and let everybody know that we're here on live stream. Hang out for just a second. If you guys are joining us on rebroadcast, just go ahead and fast forward. This is typical. We usually have about a couple minutes of silence before we start the show. So hang tight. I'll be right back with you. Okay, guys, give me just a couple more seconds here. Apparently, it's middle of the day. I'm catching people unaware that I'm live streaming a little bit earlier than I normally do, so I want to wait for a few people to come in. I'm just going to get a few things set up and alert social media, so just go ahead and fast forward in the video if you guys are listening, all right? Yeah, I know I'm muted. Sorry about that. I'm just setting things up. I'm waiting for everybody to kind of show up here before I get started. I'm starting a little bit earlier than I normally do, so just hang with me. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for hanging with me here. My name is Red Baron. Thank you for joining me on the live stream. If you guys are new to live stream, we appreciate you joining us. And of course, obviously, this is the regular crew. Thanks for joining me here on the middle of the day on a, what the hell day is today? I don't even know anymore. Wednesday? I've had people banging on my roof. I got a new roof. I bought my son a new roof for his house. And we've had construction workers. This is why I haven't been live streaming, because all you hear is just so more than normal. So, needless to say, I'm getting my beauty sleep in abundance here. I feel like I have half a beach poured in my face right now. So, I'm in sad shape. It's allergy season, so what else can go wrong, right? So, nonetheless, I'm here doing what I do. So, thank you very much for joining us, and it's going to be one of them days. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the market and see what's going on here. Guys, got any questions? Go ahead and file them in. This is going to be kind of an informal thing. I'm just going to run through the top stuff, kind of give you my feelings on what's going on. And we had a little bit of a bounce here, and I just want to assure you, every time we get a little bit of a market jiggle, everybody's like, oh, is this going to be it? I'm like, no, it's not going to be it. So, I'm going to have to do this again. It's I've already kind of taken a look at the charts and stuff like that, and none of this is beyond how do I want to say this? None of this is beyond the expected. Let's just say that. So let's go ahead and start with Big Daddy Bitcoin here and take a look and see what's going on. Of course, real quick here, we'll do a little housekeeping. Of course, if you guys are new on live stream and you'd like to join us, please do that at the unfairadvantage.chat. Link in the description box below. If you'd like to use these automated intelligence charts featuring my little opinions and stuff like that, you can do that in combination. Just join us at fibbycharts.com. Simply go to subscribe. And we still have a 10% off on all subscription levels from Dogecoin, one-day Dogecoin access or one-week Dogecoin access all the way up to Platinum Pro. You get 10% off. Just simply use the coupon, all capital letters, no space, YouTube, YOUTUBE, all caps, no gaps, and you can get 10% off your subscription. So, and of course, obviously, you can get in on the unfairadvantage.chat, our crypto group at Discord, for free. No charge to be in there, and we'd love to have you join us. Okay, so let's take a look and see what's doing with Bitcoin. All right, so as I said, no surprise here. So we've already got the channels here. There's a double channel in the trend line, or a channel in the trend line here. So she's following, no big deal. We dropped out a little bit. Now to look at this, we fell. This is something you don't normally see. We fell 3/4 of the way. We fell past the 50% point. I'm starting to notice a little bit of a trend. A little too soon to say this is starting to become a rule, but I'm starting to notice that we're going a little bit. You guys have been with me for a while. You know how we just hit 50% constantly, over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I'm starting to notice 3/4 of a move rather than 50%. Don't want to. This might be an outlier, an exception to the rule, but. Generally, when we make a market, like TA will suggest we go down to here, we'll go to 50%, turn around and reverse. It's just their way of screwing with you. But I'm noticing now it's starting to go to 3/4 of predictions. So I'll be watching that and seeing if this is becoming a quote-unquote thing or not. But 50% is pretty much been by the book lately. A lot of TA moves are not going full stroke. They're just not. So I've been, in all my trades, I've been betting 50%. So if a move is saying it's going from point A to point B, I'm betting at point A, point 5. I'm not throwing my money down on the full stroke expectation, because it just doesn't seem to ever be happening that way. So what we're going to see here throughout the market, I want to point this out. You're going to see this theme repeated over and over and over through the charts. Green below red below blue, which means we are still going down. So even though you've got a little bit of a jiggle, you've got a major indicator saying, nah, not yet, not yet. Now, second to that, you're seeing the Bollinger Band is starting to expand, and as we all know, going back and recovering this, anytime you see the band is starting to funnel open, like it is right here, that means whatever direction that it's doing, it's going to magnify and continue on. So we've got kind of a split decision, as is we is or is we ain't going up. And currently right now the bubble says that we're possibly going to go up. That doesn't mean an awful lot. Could mean that we hit this trend line right here. And I would be in full agreement of that. I think that's probably about where we would bounce off. And then we might do some of that and then continue on down. So But this right here is what's got my attention and my understanding that the market is not necessarily going to go, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs just quite yet. So, calm down if you think that this means anything, because it really doesn't. In the broad sense of things, you're only looking at 5%. It's it's amazing to me how many of you guys see a 3% move and just and then like that's nothing. That's nothing. It's pretty substantial for Bitcoin, but it's nothing in the broad market sense. I mean, don't get excited until something really blasts past 15%. It's really not that. It's really not that noteworthy. So anyway, but looking at this here, going back and looking at the other indicators for Bitcoin, and again, we're on the one-day indicator, or on the one-day chart here. We're seeing a little bit of blue, so we got a positive here. Nothing saying we can't roll into a second red session. This thing can't go further red and continue on. I mean, we've had some pretty good runs of green, some pretty good runs of red. So I don't think that the red's completely over. So the digital moving index is sort of starting to head back up a little bit. So we're split 50-50. So anytime you see a 50-50 split like that in all 5 indicators, it's nothing horribly bullish. So, and again, we'll see that over and over. See, there's that same thing. Green on this one, actually, green is diving even harder. So the whole move hasn't stopped. You can see, let me go ahead and do this. Ethereum, some of these give a little bit more clear indicator as to what's going on, but you can see where this is going. We're heading down here where I told you we were headed, so we might bounce up a little bit. Hit again. There's that ceiling that I would say that we would probably hit. We could probably bounce up a little bit to the top of that channel, maybe wick out and drop back down in. But overall, what goes up must come back down. So I have my eyes here. So here we are, Wednesday. A little too soon to make a prediction, but I don't think we're going to see anything too radical right away. I don't. If anything pops out at me, I'll say something. But the main thrust of this live cast is just to kind of let you know that we're just not doing anything too much extraordinarily right now. We'll look for a few things. I've been looking for sleepers, guys. A lot of you guys have been like, when are we going to get another sleeper? Sleepers kind of set up a little bit, and I'll explain for you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, that are new. There's a pattern that goes on here. Let's scoot this over here and I'll do a little chalk talk. So there's a pattern that plays itself out in certain market cycles where things will go down and then they'll just go along for a while. They'll get a little bit of a hiccup and then up they go. We are not to that yet. So the whole market is going down. So we haven't had that flat leveling out. We certainly haven't had the hiccup yet. So sleepers are just not in the cards right now. And I know a few people have been commenting, man, I missed those days when, RB was pulling out sleepers all over the place. Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. But we got to hit bottom first, or we got to hit a resolved flat line, consensus that this is as low as we're going for a while, to kind of a malaise that'll kind of pull people along, just, when's it going to be, when's it going to be, when's it going to be, and they'll always give you that hiccup, and then when the hiccup happens, that's when you know it's on. That's when you throw down your money and you wait. So none of these charts are going to show you anything that even remotely resembles a sleeper that I'm going to show you here. Now, I might dig a few out. I might dig one out from a very unpopular coin. However, that would be highly speculative to think that it's a sleeper, especially with what everything else is going on. Usually sleepers all patterns will follow a certain point, and then the sleeper will be a little bit more dialed in. So I'm not seeing any chart movement right now that would put us into a sleeper pattern, an expected sleeper pattern, but I'm watching for it. So anyway, we'll cover a little bit more. When I see that, I'll circle back and talk about that a little bit more. So yeah, I think ICP, actually, now I'm looking at the comments, I think there was one that dawned on me. Let me stop my train of thought here, or derail my train of thought here. Let's go over to ICP while I'm on that. Because there was one that I remembered I wanted to talk to you guys. Yeah, I was kind of looking at, again, this is a one-day chart. See, generally, when you're dealing with sleepers, the way that I like to deal with them, you like to deal with them on the 1 hour or less, because it gives you a whole different story. I would say not necessarily. A sleeper is very, very flat. Now, this right here probably almost would have qualified, but again, we're still in a downward trend if you look at that. So I wouldn't necessarily go on record and say it's a sleeper. Now, we're looking at 1 hour charts. If this were to go, for a while here, say to get over here, something like that, and we certainly would have to have a little bit of a hiccup. Then we're starting to probably talk about a hiccup. We're starting to talk about a sleeper. But look at the general shape of that. You know, there's no sleeper about that. So ICP wasn't the one. I'll probably stumble across it here at some juncture, but so we'll get back on track here. All right, so yeah, so I covered that already. So XRP, this is the one that. So I've got. So you guys know where I'm at with this. I am watching 4 coins right now. I'm watching Theta. I'm watching T Fuel because that's my swing coin. I'm watching XRP because I want to get my damn. I sold a good amount of XRP, which you know I consider I almost got a crypto jihad going on here because I'm like I want my coins back. I sold off some of these coins to get into another coin, and you know, hey, you do what you do sometimes. I broke my rule, and you know now I suffer. So now I'm below here my buyback, but this too shall pass, and it'll come around to my advantage because I'm buying back when we get down here. We will get down here. So let me make a real quickie sketch case for this. As to why I think so. So basically, we got a little bit of a down. So let's say we get a hiccup. We'll probably, you know, bounce within this area here, and then down we'll go. So I'm not too terribly concerned when I see this. Because basically, as you look at this, let's go ahead and take all that trash out of there. As you look at this, we're basically in a very defined channel downward. So I mean, you know, there's an up, there's an up, there's an up. So I'm not terribly worried that we won't work our way down to my ultimate goal. But when we get down in this area right here, I'm getting the wallet out. I'm buying back my coins and then some. So, and so while I'm on XRP, I'm going to start talking about XRP a lot more now because there was a new case against a couple of those guys. So Jay Clayton came out, and so now the class action lawsuit against all the shenanigans is starting. So this let me give you my 3 cents worth on this. This is only going to serve. It may seem on the surface like, oh, this is going to force everything to you know, send XRP to the moon. Let's take a look at the facts of this. So this case was just announced. Do you see it in the charts here? Do you see any kind of a massive enthusiastic pump? Because a lawsuit was filed against these guys that have been causing problems for us as investors. That's a bad sign, or that's a sign that should tell you that this new case is going to be nothing but a bunch of just news cycle stuff that's going to cause a bunch of unnecessary pumps or unpredictable pumps and stuff like that. But the overall sentiment is not going to. It's not going to help the overall sentiment of the coin. The case is not going to rush this thing to close the other one. It's not going to do anything because if it was, all the big money insider knowers would have put a move on that right there, and that case did nothing. So whether the news of the case being filed, where we're at with that makes no difference because I'm telling you right now that all that's going to do is that's going to further convolute this issue. It's going to slow things down. I'll have more on that here when my mind is working a little bit better, but I'll run the case out a little bit more for you. I'll make a case for why that is later on. I just kind of want to put this top of mind right now and let you know that this new thing that you hear, that they're going after the guys that kind of hurt our valuation in our coins, is not necessarily something that's going to make things faster or better for us. That's what I'm trying to say. However, now on the other end of the SEC thing, I've been very clear about where we're at with this. It's not going to be till probably late September, early October, that any real, predictable, believable reason why this coin is going to go is going to happen. Anything that you see going up in the meantime is just speculation, pumps, news cycle, whatever. I still maintain, and I always have maintained, that we are going down. And this is 60 cents right now. I'll be buying at the 60-cent thing to get my initial coins back because I'll be leveling up a little bit. I'll be getting a pretty good price. But ultimately, we're down here. Whoops, let me go ahead. 22 to 25 cents. I have not changed my tune one bit about that. So ultimately, we're still going down, 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 down. Now, as far as how much of a drop here, always fun to kind of look and see what kind of a percentage we need to get to those points. To get to 25 cents, we need a 65% drop. Not insurmountable, guys. It's not insurmountable. In terms of crypto, that's one bad week at the track. You know, all it takes is a couple of 10s and a 20, or a couple of 15s and a 5 or whatever, and boom, down we go. Down we go. So I'm not too terribly worried that we'll make it down there. And again, as I've said this millions and millions of times, you know, we haven't had any major world event that's really rocked the world and made everybody pull all their money out of crypto, pull all their money out of banks. It's coming. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. So, all right. I think I beat that horse enough. So basically, we're just waiting to wait on that. Now, XLM, when basically we're still in there again, that same formation. When you're looking at something like XRP and you're looking at all these other charts, it helps to have many charts open and kind of see the general way they're all going, get market sentiment. Because looking at one chart or several different time zones or several different time signatures on one chart does not necessarily help you figure out the direction. You have to know, because most coins move together in tandem. There's always those outliers, those supermarket specials that we talk about. But generally speaking, you know, if we're looking at a chart that I may have laid out for XLM and we're like, oh man, XRP looks like it could really drop, but then XLM is not looking like it's going to drop because you can very clearly see a stop point for it, you might go back and look at XRP and go, well, if XLM looks like it could probably drop here, we're looking at probably maybe, I don't know, to get to the bottom of that channel, 13%. Ergo, we probably could think that maybe XRP is going to drop roughly in comparison to that amount. So that's the way that I look. I take a market sentiment to see if I can find other charts that have maybe hints in them that might show me where I can expect a drop to happen. Now XLM is tracking beautifully. You know, we're stuck up underneath. Now we're inside. We're stuck up underneath this. We've dropped through that. So basically, we're going to be tracking right through here for the next couple of days or so. Now. Again, I'm not 100% sure that we're not going to go into an extended red session because, you know, just because we're turning white here, you know, it doesn't always have to play like this. Let me show you. Go back here a little further. See, we can go white, go right back to red, and keep on going. So never, never, never assume that white necessarily means things are strengthening, because it's not the case. It's bar by bar. So we could very easily find ourselves kind of walking right along there and then eventually kind of getting. So we've got some fairly good support right there. So my guess would be we would probably be working that triangle right there for the next couple of days or so. So theta. So let me get out the marker here. So again, you know, we're bouncing up a little bit here. I think ultimately we're probably gonna be forming a bear flag, and so we'll be coming down. So this is not yet played out yet, but I think it will. I don't think we've wandered too far off the mainstream. But my long shot target isn't so much of a long shot anymore. We came damn close. See, here again, this is one of those 75%. If you look at the size of it, 75%. It's kind of odd. I'm kind of looking at that, just kind of scratching my head, because we haven't ever seen that before. Because normally the TA would say go from here to here, and we would stop right there at that, but we went 75%, not 50, 75%. And we picked up on another candle and went up. We went down a third time, 75%. So, interesting. It is interesting. So I'm watching to see if that's going to become a regular rule that we're going to have to implement, and I'm going to have to start notating that in the chart, but we shall see. Now, going back again, you see that circle and that X there. I told you that we're expecting a little bit of a wave, and again, here the wave is tracking up. You can see this is tracking up too. We're going to go about another couple more candles right in this. Whoops. Trading view, you're testing my patience every single day. Let's lock that. There we go. So you can see we're following. I'll get it together here, guys. Bear in mind. There we go. We're following that trajectory right there. Following this right here, so we're probably going to go down here in the next couple of days. Within the next 1 or 2 candles right there, we're going to crest and we're going to start dropping again. So we'll be dropping down in that channel there between the high count and the low count, the long count and the short count. And when we hit bottom down here, this is where my money's at right there. I want to be wherever we drop to. And I don't mean that this particular point, this level at $2.57. What this is meant to designate is this particular point at this particular date, not level. It's meant to designate date, because these waves are just basically, are we going up or are we going down? It's not telling you how high, it's just telling you when we're going up and down. So long story short is we're waiting for a couple more days here, and then we're going to start to take a downturn. So we still got a little bit of red left in the a little bit of red left paint left in the can here. So don't expect too much of a run up. We've got some pretty good resistance right here, some pretty good resistance right here. So the wave count says we're going to be going down. So we might catch a little bit of a bump up into above the blue a little bit, and then that's going to be about it. She's going to go sideways and she's going to go down. Same goes for this. You can see we smacked right off my resistance. This is a good point. Now this is Theta Fuel. This is our swing trade coin. So watching it to see what's going on. But again, there's that same familiar. Now this one's starting to have a little bit of a curve up. That doesn't necessarily mean it won't flatten out again. But so far, you know, the indicators aren't matching. They're not looking strong one way or the other. So we're still just waiting to kind of get a 4 for 5 or a 5 for 5 indicator to see what's going to happen. Is my audio really... Let me see if I can fix my audio here, guys. Hold on. I see what it is. Hold on. How's that? That's got to be a lot better. I apologize, guys. I don't know. This software just has a mind of its own. It insists on turning my audio down a little bit. You can probably hear me a little bit better now, can't you, Greg? Yeah, sorry about that. I'm looking at the charts. I'm not looking at the chat there, so I apologize for that. I'm still shopping another mic. I'm thinking about picking up a Blue Yeti or something like that. I don't know if it's this mic or it's the software or whatever. My headphones have completely stopped working. So the headphones you guys hate when I use is just completely stopped working. It is like a really scratch. I can use it when I use my satellite phone, but it doesn't work for anything else. So yeah, I'll do, no problem, Corey, no problem. You're one of my phone users, aren't you? It's not me speaking quietly, it's all you guys getting older. Hate to break the news to you. Have I ever told you guys, and I'm just in a story mode today because I'm loopy. I got 2 hearing stories for you. So some of you guys know that I used to own a car audio. I used to manufacture subwoofers, a company that's where Second Empire Media comes from. Is I have great ties to the entertainment industry in many different ways. Speaker, performer, I produce, I do a lot of stuff with movies and television and stuff like that. But I also used to manufacture car audio back in the 90s. And so my right ear is completely blown out. I can't hear, shit out of my right ear, basically. And so, when you're married for 20 years, your wife has a tendency to kind of try and do things just to annoy you. She would always speak at a level that was slightly below, and her voice had a tonality that I couldn't pick up on. So she would always speak slightly below my level where I could hear her. And she's like, "You need to get your hearing checked." I'm like, "I don't have any hearing. You can't fix what's broken." And so I got the great revenge. I don't know if I've ever told this story before or not, but I'm going to tell it again just for you guys that are new. So one of my best friends was a pediatrician, and he's Chase's doctor and Adam, my youngest son's doctor. And so just love being a doctor. Guy's good at it. And so my wife took Chase and Adam in to into their physicals for school that year, and he goes, "How are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, my ear's hurting." He goes, "Let me take a look at your ear." So this is my wife. He looked in her ear. And he goes, "Oh my God, you got to get to the hospital right now." She's like, "What?" He says, "I have never seen." And ugh. And then so she goes, "What?" So she goes into the doctor. And the guy, the ear, nose, and throat guy looked at her ear and he goes, "Oh Jesus." And so apparently what had happened is she had tubes in her ears when she was little. And she was 40, we'll just call her 42. She was about 42 at that time, and they never fell out. Instead, they fell into her ear. And so they were there the entire time I knew her, the entire time she was growing up, whatever. And so I always used to think she wasn't listening to me. I just thought she was just ignoring me. No, she couldn't hear me. And so we both have our own little hearing damage. So here's my great payback. You know, nothing like a good payback. When you're married, you kind of you married guys know, you married women know. You know, after a while, you just do things you just like screwing with your spouse. This is my favorite one for me. This one's probably ended up getting me divorced or whatever, but or it probably didn't help my divorce. But so when they dug in her ear and they saw basically what she had developed is like a level of infection that was so bad she couldn't hear anything. And so the ear, nose, and throat guy looked at her and goes, "Oh God Almighty!" He goes, "You got to get this fixed right now." So how they fixed it is they had to cut her ear off. And basically fold it off to the side to get in. They just had to cut her ear off. And so when they got it fixed, I couldn't even think too loud. She could hear me across a football stadium. I mean, oh my God, she had superwoman hearing. It was unbelievable. But after the surgery, of course, they had to sew the ear back on. They didn't sew it on right. So when she noticed this, I'm not telling the story correctly. She knows my glasses aren't fitting right. I can't get them to sit on. And I looked at her and I just busted out laughing. I go, "They put your ear on. They sewed her ear back on a quarter of an inch lower when they sewed it back on, so her glasses would never sit level." So this is what'll get you divorced, guys. Little tip from a divorced man: don't ever do this to your wife. But I got a perverse joy out of it when you're arguing with your wife. You know that one thing you can do that'll just set them off. Here's mine. So anytime she would kind of get to griping at me or whatever, I would just look at her and turn my head a little bit to the side. And she's like, "God damn it, dude, that's not funny." Okay, but it is. So. Sorry, I haven't told a story like that for a while. You guys like those, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. It was top of mind. All right, so let's get back to charts. Now, Matic, I know a couple of you guys that are the low buck guys are really watching Matic, and I applaud that because I think it's a really good play for you. Probably not the best one if you're trying to swing toward your way back to riches, but if you're looking for something solid that you're not going to get another kick in the teeth, Matic is going to do you well. So I've got a buy zone very clearly marked for you guys. We're getting there though. I mean, you can see, man, we're just following that just beautiful. And again, here's what I'm saying. So on the uptick, there's no real reason to be panicky because you can see inside the trend, we're not going that high. Unless we break out of this, which I don't really see that we're going to continue down. We have a number of days before we're going to see anything that's very optimistic for Matic. So this one's also on my watch list. I'm watching your delayed comments. Yeah, I know. I got a sick sense of humor. I deserve to be divorced. I'm not an easy person. I'm adorable, but I'm only adorable in short spurts. You know what I'm saying? So you guys that living with me isn't entirely. Listening to me on live stream is one thing. Living with me on a daily basis, I know my limitations. So yeah, this is why I date a lot of women, because any one of them would probably be sick of me after a long time, after an extended period of time. By the way, I want to throw this out there. I'm sorry, I'm having a stream of downloads here. I've got a couple of things I want to share with you. So if you'll indulge me for a couple of minutes here, let me clear this off. So you guys that are new on live stream, pardon me. I segue a lot. It's part of my charm. So I want to talk to a couple things here. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen here real quick. So I am back with the 21s on a different type of 21 and 21 group is my group of psychics and remote viewers and Pentagon people and bankers and blah, blah, blah. So I'm back with them. However, now I'm doing a little bit more remote viewing training and stuff, which is really kind of what I was wanting to do. So I have an announcement to make. I'm not going to out the guy, but I know something about one of you guys in this group. You're going to be a daddy. You can be a daddy. So I was doing a remote viewing on Tutankhamun. And so one of the things we were doing is just every once in a while we do a little bit of a fun exercise to kind of clear the palate, get the world events off. And we were doing a remote viewing on Tutankhamun and come up with some pretty interesting stuff, guys. And one of these days I'll talk about it on live stream. But one of the interesting things that happens with me anyway, I'm kind of like this. I kind of get in the zone where I'm building motorcycles, and I'll just kind of get these little psychic things that just pop in out of nowhere. But man, this is the intuition that helps me with these charts. It's much in the same thing. Just out of nowhere, in the middle of this viewing, I got a vision of one of the guys. He's a diamond, actually. I'm good. I haven't told him, so I don't want to tell him on live stream because he'd be like, "Oh God." But he's a diamond. He's got 2 kids already. I know. I don't know this for a fact, but I suspect that he does. But one of our diamonds is about to be a daddy again for the 3rd time, and I've seen it, and it's going to be a girl. So mark my words. Well, mark my words and remember that I said this, but within the next year you're going to be a daddy. One of my diamonds that has 2 kids, you can figure out who you are. You're looking at a 3rd's coming. So congratulations, I'm the first to tell you. So anyway, what else would I want to talk about? So another thing, back with me chasing women and being a womanizer, I'm going to Cuba. Guys, I'm going to go to Cuba because I got to go somewhere weird every single year and get myself into these adventures so I have stories to tell you when I come back. So here on about the 9th, let's see, what's it going to be? I think it's going to be here in about a month and a half. I'm going to go to Cuba for a couple of weeks because I've met a beautiful Cuban woman that wants me to go celebrate her birthday with her, and I'm due to get the hell out of the country for a while because I've kind of had enough of it. And so for 2 weeks or so I'm going to be in Cuba, but I will be live casting. I will be watching charts and stuff like that, so just so you know. So I want to prepare you so you don't freak out like we did in Georgia when I went to Georgia and Sheba went to the moon. So all right, so let's get back on business here. I just wanted to kind of make sure. Another thing too, completely disrelated, the affiliate thing. Some of you guys have wanted to get in on the affiliate thing. That's still open. We're still doing that. Chase is battling with the payout on that. I'm working with Flemish Populace right now. So stage 1, stage 2 of our test went pretty well. We're having a problem with linking our software to pay out to the affiliates. So in other words, if you refer somebody to us, you get a credit for that, and every single month you get a credit for that. We're having an issue where the auto pay going out to everybody is somehow not firing or giving Stripe the permission to do so. However, that shouldn't, anybody who wants to join the affiliate thing shouldn't stop you. We can go ahead and I can manually override that, pay out in Amazon gift cards or something like that. So if you guys are wanting to get into the program, stuff like that, all you got to do is just send me a private DM on Discord and say, hey, I want to get into that affiliate thing. And guys, it does pay very, very well. Very, very well. Right now is probably one of the best times to get into this. So you guys are looking for extra money, and we're going to do the Amazon gift card thing probably if I have to, but we can also do crypto payments if I have to as well. But you guys are looking for some extra income to kind of, take some of the salt out of the wounds of this year. This would be an absolutely excellent expenditure of your time. I can tell you that it's very, 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 very simple, not easy, very, very simple. No tax. Tax liens will be dealt with here pretty soon. I'll get onto that here. We'll get back to charts as soon as I download all my stuff. But anyway, we will We will be doing that right now. So that's an active program right now. If you guys want to get into the affiliate thing, basically all you got to do is just share links with your social media and stuff. If anybody else comes and joins, you get 10%. 10% of any sale that goes in perpetuity. So in other words, if they join in January, February, March, April, May, June, you're going to get paid every single one of those months. So as long as they're a subscriber, you're going to continue to get income from it. So it's not a bad deal. So Christine asked, what about tax liens? Yes, we are getting very close to that time. It's time for me to start getting serious about that, and I will not run to Cuba. Until, is that the reason why you were asking me about that? I'll take care of business before I go take care of pleasure. So that's always business before pleasure. So I will make sure that gets taken care of. So I think her birthday's on the 9th, and the tax lien thing I believe is the 3rd week of June. So I'll have to get with Jim. I'm still waiting for Jim. I know that's what you were asking me, right? Don't run to Cuba. Don't run to Cuba in a bit. I won't do that. So, but anyway, we'll get all that stuff taken care of. And so all you guys that have got Roundtable 2, if you're not active or whatever, just simply mention. I'll tweak it. I'll go ahead and extend that. So I did speak with Jim the other day, and so we're still trying to sync up a time that I can get with him because he's got some other issues going on. He's dealing with some pretty high-end clients, and then we'll get him on for a phone thing and finish that up. And then I still need a head count on how many of you guys want to come to Des Moines, Iowa, which is where this thing is going to be. I won't get into why. It's just that's the reason. That's the place we're doing it. Des Moines, Iowa is going to be probably the 3rd week in June. Yeah, in June. 3rd week in June. I need a head count on how many of you guys are gonna fly in, drive in, whatever, because it's gonna depend upon the venue that we go with, how I teach this class. Because if we get a complete blowout of people, all diamonds get in for free, by the way. So you diamonds want to come, I still need to know that you're coming, so I can account for that. And then obviously we'll have pay as you go kind of things for all the other guys that want to get in. So. Yeah, Corey, I'll tell you what, patience is, you're going to learn an awful lot about yourself as far as patience. I've since I've been doing this, it's really hard. It really is hard to look at this stuff and just go, when's it going to go down? When's it going to go down? Trade sickness, we haven't used that term for a long time. Trade sickness it's a real thing, and boredom, trade sickness, call it what you want. It's a real thing. It's excruciating to be out of the market, waiting for a time to get in. It's excruciating to be in the market, waiting for it to turn around and put your profit back in. Patience. You'll learn an awful lot about yourself as an investor. So I don't want to segue too many more times here. I want to get back to the charts, but I am going to be kind of diversifying what I do on this channel a little bit. I think a lot of you guys like to listen to me when I talk about motivational stuff. I'll go ahead and do that for you. Some of you guys kind of look like my insight as a business leader, as a business coach and teacher and writer and author and stuff like that. So I try not to interject that too much with the chart programs and stuff like that, but might start another channel, might do that, because I have an awful lot to say to you guys as far as like keeping your head straight and being able to approach these downturns in the market, and how to handle your life, how to handle your finances and stuff like that. I mean, I've kind of wandered away from that a little bit. That was one of the thrusts that I had for this program when I started it, is to be able to dial you guys in. So we'll circle back around on that here before we go. All right. So anyway, let's get back to this here. Let me open up. What was it? Dent you wanted? We'll have to take a look at it. Just sit here. There was something on Ocean I believe I wanted to comment on. There you go. Okay, let me show you something here real quick. I'm having one of those days. This is what lack of sleep does to me. It's like I'm in 5 different directions at once. We've got a very classic 3-wave working our way up here. So let me give you a quickie play here for you guys that want something to maybe get your hands on. There is no doubt to me that's not going to count as a 3rd wave right there. We got to get up. There is no doubt to me at all that we're going to be coming back down to at least probably 41, 42 cents on ocean. If we go 3/4 of this drop right here, which seems to kind of be a thing, 41, 42 cents on ocean. If we get down that low, and you like that at that price, and that probably wouldn't be a bad thing to consider. I'm of the mind that a 3-wave is going to come back around here when things turn around, and we're going in. If you remember how Theta, how I showed you the long count and short count is going up, this will be carried along with that. So if you were to pick up ocean at about, let's just call it 42 cents just to be conservative. Let's move it from 42 cents. From 42 cents back to the top of the wave, which will take it right here. Are you seeing that number? It's 126%. 126.06%. Now, even if we don't get all that way, where we got heavy resistance right here, even if we go to here, and we will blast through that, that's 93%, kids. Been a while since I pulled one of those out. But they're coming. They're coming. And I know it sounds very, very vapid to say that, but the truth of the matter is there's going to come a time when it's like impossible not to see 30, 40, 50, 60, 90, 100, 200. It's coming. But we've got to get through this crazy-ass depression that we're going. But I can see it already in the charts. And so if we get down to about 42, when we get down to about 42, if you can buy it, have a little bit of patience with it, hang on to it, you can very clearly see, if you know how to read a chart, there's your resistance right there. Right there. That's where you're going to start having problems with further upping. If you like the gap between 42 cents and that right there is 98% return on your money. Damn near 100% return on your money. So ocean is one. That's basically going to be your play of the day right there. Now, how long is that going to be? I would feel pretty good telling you inside of 30 days. Certainly no more than 45. How's that? 3 waves play out pretty predictable. If they're going to do what they're going to do, they're going to play out probably about 30 to 45 days. So, and there's a couple others that are running. Shiba is running also a 3-wave. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. I already had that open, but let's go ahead and do that. So Shiba's in a 3-wave. I told you guys a long time ago we're in a 3-wave, and we haven't violated it yet. Now, Robinhood. I don't give a rat's ass about Robinhood. Robinhood's not going to change this scenario. So we're still respecting the lines here. We pinged off it. We wicked up past it. Yeah, that's all well good. We've dropped back down. Now, this thing could turn into tweezers, guys. Real easy. This is a 1-day chart. You know how these extreme blasts go. They can turn into tweezers and jump right back down. So do not be surprised if this falls. There we go. Do not be surprised if this falls right back in line, gets in here, and continues down. It should. It must. If it's gonna fall in line with my predicted 3rd wave, it has to. So if the rest of the market's going down, Shiba's going down too. So I know a lot of you guys get hopeful and go, but this is different. It's not different. It's not different. I'll give you this. This is a Robinhood pump. I think we can all see that is what it is. But we have a 3-wave here. And 3 waves go down. 1, 2, 3, down. Now, when we get all the way down, how low will we go? Well, I would be inclined to tell you that, let's see here. I would be inclined to tell you that between that support and resistance right there and the top of that box right there, that would be about your window. I would say to the low part of that window right there would be about where you would be before when the Anubis wave from Theta starts to sweep up and drag the market with it. We'll probably be down in this area when that happens. When it does, you have my permission, if you just can't help yourself, to buy. Buy at the top of that box and wait and see what happens. How much money will you make? By the way, somebody was asking me to give you target prices, so so you're looking at, there you go, super easy round number. Now from there, if you go from the top of that back to resistance, 22%. That doesn't even begin to match what's potentially possible with ocean. You got a lot of resistance going back up with Shiba. So Shiba's not the best play in the house. Let me show you. You got resistance there. You got it there. You got a little bit there. You got a small amount right there. So you got a lot of resistance to deal with the bust through, whereas Ocean doesn't have that. So I would be, of the two, and then not only this is an ERC20 coin. Ocean is not, if I recall correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Ocean is a ERC20 coin. Even if it is, the numbers are still better. All right, so let's look at Reef. Let's look at Dent. Well, Dent's dropping back down. So, okay, so I don't have the short count in here. Here's the. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do. Yeah, she's dropping. All right. So what I'm seeing here, guys, and this is kind of. Bear with me here. I got to do a little bit of sketching. I might not be able to pull that off very well with. Okay. So what I'm trying to show you here is this. We've got almost what looks like it's starting to shape up to a broadening wedge, which means breakdown. If you remember from very past live streams how I explained that works, let me go. A broadening ascending wedge. Oh, God. Come on, take it. There we go. Generally, we'll go like this and then down. So that's a very loose interpretation of a broadening ascending wedge, but I see it and it fits the narrative, so I'm going to go ahead and claim it. Where you're at right now is you're up under resistance, which is right there. Can everybody see that white line there? Or do I need to darken that up a little bit? I'll do that. Let's make it pick a color that shows up a little bit better. There we go. We're up under resistance, so I would look for a rejection and further falling, as would be the case with the rest of the market. So, but again, this is your theta blast off, double matchup right there. So we've got a little while. Third week of this month. So we got one more week to kind of put this in perspective. You got about IOTA is okay. You got about one more week of potential down before we get to something that I think should lead to a boost. I'm not going to say blast, but a boost. So we got roughly about 7 more days till we get into the third week of this month. So that's as close as I can get you as far as being able to predict when something positive is going to happen. But it's showing very well in the charts. All right, so Reef. Again, here's another case where I talk about, you have to look at lots of charts and you'll start to get an understanding. And here we go again. This one went 75%, not 50, 75%. Turned around, came up, but it's inside of a downward channel. So again, we could go into a longer red session here. So far, this is not impressing me. This is not impressing me. This isn't doing anything yet. We've got 1 out of 5 indicators right now that's bullish. So this is not going up. So if Reef is not going up, and Reef moves very, very comparably with Dent, then Dent is not going up. If Dent is not going up, then there's several others. Dent and Reef are pretty much indicative of the rest of the market. You could start to build a case backwards to see what the rest of the market is doing. Some of these will not throw off as clear indicators as others will. But if you know how they move together, generally speaking, you can get a broader perspective and a better zeitgeist for what's going on there. And so I'm not feeling terribly bullish for this week. I think that we've still got more down to go. And again, Matic is very clear on what's going on here. Following it down, inside the downward channel. So Dogecoin, again, down inside the channel, underneath resistance. this is probably one of the clearest stories out there. So really, ultimately, if you guys have the ability to watch the 1 day charts, or if you have the Doge package or whatever, you're able to watch Dogecoin. Dogecoin will probably pretty much show you and that's a hell of a thing to say. Dogecoin is going to show you what the market's going to do, but you can look at it and you can see very clearly it's doing exactly what it should be doing. So now, it's been a very long. I had you guys, most of you guys know who Crypto Rich is. He's our multimillionaire Dogecoin trader. We had a discussion yesterday, and there's a possibility where he's probably going to step back into Doge one more time. Degenerate gambler. The reason for that is because there's going to be a few things that are going to start happening with Doge. I'm not going to get into the news. You guys can do your own research on that. There's going to be a couple of things that are going to change about Doge, about its use. And as much as I hate to say it, Elon Musk has something to do with it. Although I think he's caused more damage for Doge in the long term than he's helped. But Doge is going to start to have ties to some of his most latest projects. So he's going to come back around and start pushing Doge again for whatever effect that has on the market. It used to be when he even wore a Doge t-shirt, the whole damn market just went absolutely bananas about it. But I think that's kind of hit a point where I view his tweets to be much like, when somebody says something is going to be listed on Coinbase anymore, I'm like, whatever. Remember back in the day when that used to actually matter? It doesn't matter anymore. So I don't know how much his tweets are going to affect, but I mean, there's got to be some real news for Doge to take off. But I'm feeling by a couple of things that I've read and seen that the Doge is going to have a good 2023. So we're going to start talking about Doge here probably going on into the fall, because I sense a change in the force a little bit with this, but not yet. So just expect. I'm forewarning you now, because I know how some of you guys are. Well, I thought you hated Doge. I don't hate it. It's just the right coin at the right time. If it's not, it's much like Shiba. I never saw a use for it. It was doing okay when I went to Georgia, and I was all about it there for a while, and then it just kind of turned tail and hasn't been useful since then. Because as I've said before, there's no credible people in the space. Just go back and look. Well, I'm going to start a rant here on this, but you guys have heard me say this a number of times. There's no credible people in the Shiba space. So Robinhood, remember how Robinhood was like, oh, if Robinhood would just come to the table, if Robinhood, everything would be better. Well, they did. Look at the charts. It's not happening. And I told you it wasn't going to happen. I said Robinhood does not have the sheer momentum to be able to drag that coin out of the dirt and take it to these unbelievable prices people are telling themselves that it should be going. You just saw what a Robinhood announcement will do. And it just to nothing. And so, once the feel good falls off of that, it's just going to be another exchange that it's got it listed, and no one's going to be talking about Robinhood anymore. It's just going to be a thing. What you also have to understand is Robinhood doesn't give you your coins. There might be some changes coming for that, but Robinhood doesn't give you your coins. So what you're really trading is paper trading. So even still, you're not dealing with a real coin. So I just don't see why these people can't make the connection on that. So what I'm trying to tell you in my ranty sort of way is Shiba is not going to do anything. If I were to look at both dog coins and say, would I put my money on Doge versus Shiba? Sorry to say, guys, I'd rather put my money on Doge. I really would. I wouldn't put my money on either one right now, but I'd much rather put my money on Doge. A, because it's not an ERC20 coin. B, because Musk is going to end up doing something with this. Watch the news. He's going to do something with it. We all know he's got it plastered all over the side of a rocket, so he's got something lined up in the future for it. So 2023 is going to be the year of the dog. This particular dog. All right, just out of curiosity, I want to look at this damn thing. I haven't looked at it. Yeah, so. All right. Well, I'm not going to call this a sleeper, but if we were to start looking at sleepers, this would be the start of what would be a sleeper. So we talked at the top of the show about what a sleeper would look like. This is very classically the start setup. Now this is on a 1 day, so this thing has been sleeping for a little bit at a 1 day. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what that pump was. 42%. It's pretty damn good. But we would want to take this to a lower level chart down in the 15-minute to 1 hour range to really categorize this as a sleeper. But it's not sleeping necessarily so much as it is rolling in a range. So this project, we all discussed this thing. You know, a lot of us went in on this. Some of us did okay. Some of us did not so much. I'm still not down on this project. I just don't think it's right yet. Until the world gets itself sorted out a little bit, I don't think this thing's gonna have its day in the sun. From a speculative standpoint, you know, I don't believe I'd be putting my money in it even speculative. I'd much rather do Populous because at least it has a much more proven pump record. So, but I'm still expecting it to go down into these ranges. So we're getting there. Speaking of which, so ping, told you, there it is. Now that's a pretty strong drop to get down to that level there. So she's going to go a lot lower than this. So when we get down here, down onto this area here, or probably 75%, let's just say this, we get kind of down to this area right here, I might entertain the idea of possibly buying this with a small bag and then waiting to see what ends up coming out. Because I think this is pretty much the bottom for now. So I think there's probably some pretty good money to be made there at about that level. So you're looking at about anywhere from 17 cents to 20 cents right in that range. This is one of those I would caution you guys, don't get crazy with this thing because, man, it's like owning a pit bull. It'll turn on you. Now, Algorand has been kind of a delight from an investor standpoint. This is an ISO coin, you guys. So I was pointing this out to, I can't remember who I was talking to. We've had, there's the prediction, struck it once, struck it twice, bounced off that. Now, we've had two tests on this. We've broken out of the triangle. We're up underneath resistance now, so we're not coming back over that. Green is below red, below blue. We're still in the red zone, still depressed. Bollinger Band is actually somewhat expanding, meaning we're going to be still trending down. I think we're looking at probably being down in this area here before you know it. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. If we stay inside of the trend here, we could get ourselves down here probably in the neighborhood of about 50 cents Algorand. That would be wonderful. Wonderful. And I think it's very possible that we'll do that. So, going to keep watching it. So we got about 7 days to make that happen. I want to impress upon you that anything I'm telling you here from a lower standpoint broadly across the market. So please don't ask me, are we going up or going down? You guys drive me nuts with this. This is why I do these live streams, to tell you what's going to happen. If you're not listening to these live streams and you post, a lot of you guys are noticing I'm not answering that question. I'm just not going to answer it. If you won't bring yourself to listen to these live streams, then I'm not gonna answer that question. So are we going up or are we going down? I'm telling you, we're going down. So and I know a few of you get kind of frustrated with what about today? What about now? What about now? You guys, if I'm on live stream telling you there's a change, then you know there's a change. But I haven't wavered in my opinion of what's going on, no matter this little blip up that we've had or not. We're going down. So here's what I want to tell you, though. I'll make sure that you guys all understand carefully. We have a window of about 7 days where we're going to get the bottom achieved within the next 7 days. From the next 7 days, when we see that bottom, and I'll be on live stream telling you, we're going to catch a bounce, a much bigger bounce. I'm not talking about none of this little thing that we just had right here. It's going to be a much bigger bounce. It's going to take us up probably, I don't know, I can only speculate, something on the order of this drop here. It'll easily do that. So I'll give you theory here. This is not law, but let's say if we go down here, we hit this. Would not surprise me to see an appreciable bounce up, here to here, something like that. That's pretty damn good. Doesn't look like much, but if you put tape on it, 47%. Now, so we could be anywhere from a 30 to 50% bounce over a couple of days. So I'm expecting that type of level of action. So, we'll see if I'm right or wrong or whatever, but I'm 99.999% sure that we're going to be seeing probably in the next 7 days the bottom before a turnaround. So that much I'm 100% sure on, or close to 100 as I can get. All right. Anything else here? I'm just kind of kicking back here. I'm waiting for my replacement car stereo to come in today. So I'm going to, since I can't sleep, I'm going to go try 2.0. I got a kind of a really nice car stereo. It's a SoundStream double din thing that has dual monitors for my car. It came out, and the adapter plate for it has a kind of an artsy fartsy curve on the front of it, and this top monitor comes up, hits it, goes into default, pulls back into the thing. I'm like, well, son of a bitch. So I have to go get myself another radio. So I had to send that back to Amazon. I had to get myself a different radio. So I'm going to try it again here this afternoon when UPS shows up. So if you guys got anything else that you want me to look at here, I'm just killing time waiting for the UPS guy to show up. So I'm happy to spend a little time with you here if you want. If you guys got any questions you want to hit me with, go ahead. I got this SoundStream thing that I ordered. It was pretty impressive, but I ended up getting what is it? Oh, Quant, sure, no problem. I ended up getting a radio. It's a Kenwood that's got built-in radar detectors and radar jammer, because a person like yours truly needs to have all that technology, because I drive like a maniac. So I don't do Casper. I haven't got. Yeah, I'll do sushi as well. We're going to start talking about Phantom, too, by the way. I really give this thing no love on live stream. We're going to start talking about Phantom. Let's take a look at that here in a minute. Quant and Swishy. Swishy swap. All right. Yeah, so I'm holding bags right now on this. I came in on this, and, we talked about this, how I kind of bailed out on this and downsized my position. But you can see exactly like I told you it was going to happen. That's a pain. And just bounced right off that. Now, where are we going to go? I can see a case for probably striking that ISIS line right there, maybe walking sideways a little bit, because, again, all the indicators, nothing here is looking terribly bullish. Now, this purple line falls in line with that third week boost that I'm talking about, so it's very likely, this is just pure spitballing, but it's very likely that we could work our way down a little bit lower, probably maybe fall out of this, or at least wander down there. But on the third week, we could start to see that turnaround, which, as I see, would fulfill something like that. So we don't know. We don't know. Some of this stuff just requires really squinting your eyes and seeing, but I do see the potential for a W formation in the third week. What happens with a W formation? Well, too soon to get excited, but this does. And if that happens, I'm going to come back a hero, boys and girls. I'm going to be gloating like you never saw. Told ya. So, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm not holding an awful large bag. I downsized. I think I went into it with $100,000, and I downsized. I can't remember how much I'm holding at this point in time, but I got about 70% of my money back, and I got it in something else, waiting for T-Fuel or whatever. But this'll come back and make a hero out of me, so I'm not worried about it. Sushi. When the time is right, all boats will float. I didn't do XDC actually. I'm gonna take a look at that. Probably should do VeChain too. I'm just hopping all over here. It's just one of those days, guys. Just deal with me. So, ain't this thing just a bitch? Stubborn bastard. Stubborn. It's just not doing anything. Here's what I'm seeing now, as of the last couple of days. I'm seeing something that's telling me. I hear Chase clicking his 3D printer in the other room. He's got something he's creating. I see that basically, which, eventually we're going to come down. So, but we're just not violating that channel for nothing. So, it's just a waiting game, guys. All right. So Quan had that gigantic run up. I'm gonna do a little house cleaning on some of this stuff here in a second. Also. So Quant is very clearly it had some. I don't know what caused all that. I think if I remember correctly, and I'm just speculating here, but if I remember correctly, when the first mention of ISOs are going to be hot came about, that's I think around about when this started to just go crazy. Frankly, the reason it didn't hold ground evades me because you would think that it would go up, but that was a hell of a run, though. I mean, clear up to 400 some odd bucks. That's crazy. But it's a very solid coin. It's an ISO coin. You want to own it, so it's back down in prices that we like. So good for us, right? And you can see, excuse me, you can see it's taking a very hard turn. Now, here's one thing that I will show you is we're looking at a triangle, which is going to go like this, and it's going to go down. So we're going to be down into those areas that I'm talking about. Now, during the next week or so, let me unsay that a little bit. During the next week or so, who's to say? It may very well fall down into this area, and it might wick down in that area. But ultimately, I would expect it to go right here. That's not an Anubis call, but you can see where it has the potential in a bad market to go. Now, where will it go over the next week or so? I could easily see us inside the green. Should you buy it? Yeah, I would. I probably would. With the understanding that we have a trend line. Let me go ahead. Let me change this around a little bit. There we go. You notice how these trend lines move a little bit, but they always pivot off of one area. So if we break out of that, excuse me. If we break out of that, it's likely we're going to find ourselves somewhere down, to the bottom of that green right there. So you've got a 50% at the top, you've got a full stroke at the bottom. So if we're in, on, or around the middle to the lower part of this, buy it. Don't bother trying to pick the bottom or ride the bottom. That's a good price. Just buy it, catch a bounce. You've got, as I see it right here, if we get a bounce, you've got this area will play out. Any bounce that happens will continue on in there. So if you wanted to play that as a bounce, it's a spendy coin to be playing bounce with, but but one that if you get hung with it, you wouldn't feel bad about. So that's kind of the upshot. You have the potential to make to the top of that channel there 35, 39, 40%, somewhere between 35 and 40%. If that bounces off the bottom of that and comes back in and tests the bottom of that red channel, or that yellow channel, which eventually it probably will. So you have good opportunity there with that. Now, Phantom, I haven't studied this enough, but Phantom's kind of come on my radar recently, and for reasons I can't get into here. I have an insider that I've been talking to that's telling me something about this. So he says, I need to start watching Phantom. So all right, we'll start watching Phantom. Watch for any drop below this trend line here. If this happens, and it should, I would expect to probably see Phantom. Can anyone tell me if this is an ERC20 coin? Because I don't know anything about Phantom. I don't track it. Or I don't pay attention to it. But anything basically below about 75, 76 cents, you might want to consider possibly taking a look at. Because what's going to happen, though, is it's going to fall below that, and then it's going to start testing the trend line from the bottom. So, but you've got a little bit of a swing there. But my insider is telling me that Phantom's going to do something pretty crazy here pretty soon. Bancor. I could save you some aggravation on Bancor. Bancor's not doing squat. I looked at it yesterday. It's Bancor. The good old days of Bancor are over for the time being. That used to be one of my favorite swing coins before T Fuel, and I made 575% on Bancor. It just doesn't move like that anymore. Now, Chills, that's an NFT coin if I remember correctly. Where are you? There you are. Still in a downtrend. I wouldn't really necessarily say there's anything spectacular about that. That had a going back. That had a hell of a blip when I first launched it. I first announced it. It went up shortly after me listing it. It's pretty much just been in a downtrend. It I wouldn't call that a three wave. There's a first one. There's a second one. They're too spread out, but um, I don't see anything necessarily that shows me anything positive coming. I would easily expect to see that probably back down to the 18, 19 cent range. 19 cent for sure. So I don't think I'd be putting my money. This one, you can get this on Coinbase too, by the way, for guys that are maybe interested in this. This is not necessarily one of the best uses of your money. Graph is another one, by the way. Haven't talked about for a while, but again, same insider was telling me you might want to start paying a little bit more attention to Graph as well. Loop ring. Where we got loop? Loop ring's always a good one to always kind of keep on your radar. Now, you would say, all right, well that looks like a first wave. There is no second wave there. That's too spread out. That's not a second wave. However, that's a pretty minor second wave, if you would call it that, but it should have picked up around about here. So, loop ring. I would be looking for that probably to hit around about 70 cents on the way down. Would I pick it up? You've got a fairly good amount of support here and here and here. At about 70 cents, anywhere in, let's say in that box there, if we wick down, probably wouldn't be a bad investment. Here's what I will tell you is that we get down there, assuming your EMA, your 200 EMA is roughly in that area there, you would be 66% from the EMA. We all know how that works out. It always comes home. So if you always any of these ones that you want to speculate at, always find that light blue. If you're hugely below that light blue line there, it's only a matter of time before it comes back, just like it does here. So if, say for example, if you would have bought right here, you got yourself 61%. If you would have bought right here, you'd have got yourself 85%. So, and if you would have bought up here, you would have got your ass kicked because sooner or later it comes back down. But anytime you can buy those coins that are below the 200 EMA, you know, this is a 1 day. On a 15-minute chart, I really don't like to be below 15, anywhere 20%, anywhere 15 to 20% below, because it just doesn't hold. That's on a 15-minute chart. On a 1 day chart, I haven't really formed a rule that I can share with you. But if I'm looking at a 1 day chart and I'm 66% below the 200 moving average, it's not a rule, it's just moving average. It means statistically, if you guys don't understand what you're looking at when you look at statistically, we should be along, you know, the aggregate of all these positions is this right here, meaning this is to the high side, this is to the low side. So we always check in with the mean or the median. So, you know, the further we stray away, the higher our odds get that we will. Now this thing moves and comes down just as well as those move and come up. But all things being equal, if we were to kind of come down here into this area here, let's just call it 70 cents, anywhere from 65 to 70 cents, and bought that, the odds are very good that if we can wait it out, waiting is always the great equalizer. If we can wait it out, boom, she'll come back. And we can make, 40, 50, 60%. Not going to say it's going to happen today, tomorrow, this week, but it will happen. Each one of these candles represents a day. Doesn't seem like much when you're looking at it, but you're looking at a month worth of action right there. So, or right about there. So it takes a while to realize these larger gains. You can't expect to step to the plate in 24 hours and make 60 to 80%. very often, especially in a market like this. So if you're, but again, we've talked many times about time value of money. That falls well within what I would expect the time value of money to be a very attractive return. So don't be put off by having to wait. I mean, it's not sexy, it's not fun. It's always fun when you can just I made 20% today, I made 30% tomorrow, I made those days are coming, but you have to be realistic. I mean, crypto is marvelous compared to every other asset class out there, but it does still fall within the parameters of there's human beings on the other side of this transaction, and they don't move any faster than you do. That's I think the great thing that people forget about crypto is there's another person on the other side of this transaction that has to feel 180 degrees opposite to what you feel, and unless until they do, you're not going to get your goal met. And you need to understand that. You need to burn that in your mind because it's very important. People go, well, how come the magic money isn't moving up or down? There's no magic to it. It's market sentiment. So, Mover. Let's take a look at Mover. I'll get all these tabs done here. Kyber's another one. Some new stuff starting to come online. I haven't paid attention to Kyber since this damn site was created. Kyber's just not been on my radar. Sorry, I can't catch them all. But you can very clearly see there's something going on with Kyber. So, should you be chasing that right now? I would wait for a really decent pullback on this before I would probably jump in. But you can very clearly see Kyber's got it going on. Something interesting is going on with it. I would not probably be buying unless it fell down to that line right there. I want to do Pancake as well. I'm going to end up doing them all here for it. Okay, Mover. So a lot of you guys I'm watching, a lot of you guys are playing with Mover. This is going to go down. It's going to hit the top of that channel. No doubt about it. Let me see if I can zero that in for you a little bit better. That needs to be. Sorry, my OCD has to. There we go. How many of you guys are playing how do I phrase this question? How many of you guys are playing Mover right now? And I'm curious. Go ahead. Don't feel like you're chatting too much. Tell me, what's your fascination with this? I know it's tied to Rome, yes, but could somebody please explain your fascination with Mover right now? Because I don't see it. I've been watching a few of you guys do this because I don't see your fascination with Rome. Or, I'm sorry, I don't see your fascination with Mover right now. As I see it, this thing is going to tank way the fuck down here. So pardon my language, but yeah, it's this thing's going to drag you down hard. Funny how that always lines up, isn't it? You want to be holding that when it does that? I advise you don't. Funny how it always works out, isn't it? Once you understand how to play the grid, you can figure this shit out. Don't hold this. Don't. I implore you, don't hold this. Bad idea. All right, well, I think I'll call that close enough for a ping, but again, this one's gonna be walking down the outside of that, probably walk across the top of that. Pancake's not a sleeper, but we all know the story of Pancake, how how this thing, when it decides to get on the stick, and much like sushi, when it decides it wants to do something, it's going to take off, and it's going to have no mercy about it. So I'm watching Pancake to flip on us here. We're not quite to that point just yet. Loop ring. All right. So again, 3 tests. We're heading back down for a 4th. Now, when you get into a 4th test scenario, you start to ask, well, how many times is this going to bang before it finally falls through? I mean, after about the 3rd test, you start to question, I've seen times when we get 5, 6, 7 tests that never fall through, and then they launch from there. But statistically, after about the 3rd, maybe 4th, certainly 5th test, you're going to fall through. So now I told you that I expect the next 7 days to bring about some lower lows, which basically, by saying that, basically means that we are going to be coming down into that circle or into that little test area there. Now where we go from there, if we hit it fast enough, that was 3 days to that. If we hit it fast enough and hit this, we could very well fall down even lower. The money is pretty good. The odds are pretty good of at least hitting that ISIS line at 0.6275. If you wanted to own it at 62 cents, how do I feel about that? This is a layer 1, layer 2 solution. It has utility. It is a good coin for that. It's not going away anytime soon. Yeah, I think I would probably be okay with anyone that wanted to take a position right there in the short term. But I say that saying this is if you wanted to grab that, because again we've got a larger, broader market. I hate to use the word crash, pullback, hard correction, event in the future, which is going to drag everything back down again. What you should always do, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it, what you should always do with this stuff is if you get in on this, get a stop loss underneath it and chase it up with a stop loss, because when she turns tail and starts to dive again, you don't want to be holding the buckets at the high water mark going, oh, I should have sold. Let the robots, let the system make that decision for you. Know your exit before you take your entrance. That's one of the, always have to kind of come back to the fundamentals. Always know your exits before you go in the door. Know where the exits are and how you're going to get out. Have an escape plan. All right. Now, so here's a 3-wave that just fell out of bed. This one, you don't see it very often, but this is a 3-wave. So down she went. So now we're basically in a you could kind of call it a different scenario. You could kind of call it a narrowing descending trumpet, which is not often you hear me talk about those. Could be a triangle, but out of this, where do we go? Well, very clearly, where do we go? What usually happens with triangles? Hold on a second, let me get some of this trash out of here. Did you need something, Chase? Okay, I can hear him. I can hear my floorboard squeaking outside my office here. So he's working on the affiliate thing, so he's probably got something to say. All right. So this is a bit of a stretch, like I said, so let's take a look at this. All right. Now, very clearly something's going to happen here. Very clearly. And again, this ties in with our 3rd week. So if you look at where's the point of this is around about the 18th to 20, well, it's about the 23rd, 24th, 25th. So we've got a little bit more action to do with this, and then something is going to happen with this. Well, if everything else is going to go up, then the graph is going to go up too. So this is a pretty clear indication the graph might be at the bottom right now with a good buying opportunity or close to it. If you were to maybe see if you can catch it down here a little bit lower, down about the 31, 32 cent. Right now it's at 38, so it's not that bad. It's very possible that a blast, I got to watch my words here, but a boost would take it probably right to about there. And from this line to this line, it's 120. So even if we went to the first ISIS marker, you're looking at 70%. Oh, not too shabby. So graph's got something. My insider was right on that one. That one might be ready to come into its own, so you might want to take a look at that one. Now, I do want to kind of point this out. Generally speaking, triangles fall to the flat side. So what could happen, is we could very well see this. But I don't think, overall, I don't think that this is necessarily a bad investment, given time. I wanted to take a little bit longer look at out 1 week. The 1 week is not looking as bullish, so that's I'm trying. This is kind of throwing a look at me here where it is going down. The safe assumption here is that's probably where you're going to end up buying. We'll strike the top of this buy box, but the safe assumption is you're probably going to end up being able to buy right in that box right there. Which, by the way, for you guys that are looking anywhere from definitely under a nickel. Under a nickel. I mean, if we get 7 hard days, we're going to get under a nickel. I'll go on the record as saying that. So if you can get VeChain, Chase has bought it at 10 cents. He's still not selling, and even at 10 cents, it's not a bad price. But if you can get it under nickel, then just buy it. Just buy the hell out of it. Don't even think twice about it. Okay, we covered Phantom. VeChain for the week. Let's take a walk through here one more time. Let's check in on Bitcoin one more time. Yeah, you guys get in on Zill. Zill had a hell of a week. Yeah, this is no surprise. Whatever that was, I don't follow news, so I don't know. Whatever that was completely news driven. But man, oh man. Now, okay, there you go. That I wouldn't necessarily. This is a 1 day chart, so yeah, there you go. If we were to take this and stretch that out, each one of these is a 1 day thing. That's a sleeper right there. Sleepers wake up running. So yes, I haven't watched Zill. You guys know I haven't been watching Zill for a long time. So this is your classic sleeper formation right here, undeniably. So if we can find more of those, when they go sideways like this, you find more like this. I mean, that was a hell of a thing. I don't know if you guys got in on that, but holy hell. That had to give some people some heart attacks. That went from, where did it go? Whew, baby, 400%. that may be the only thing that did 400% this year that I'm aware of. Solana's getting a little soggy still. The price of Solana's really, you guys know the history on that. This thing has been a very solid performer. If you look at the overall trend of it, it's still to the bargain side. It's trending up. We're to the low side. If we can squeeze out a little bit more low on that, man, say sub $100. I don't know that I necessarily would call that my buy zone anymore. I think I would be more. Whoops, excuse me. I would be more inclined to probably be more. Damn it. There we go. I would probably be more inclined to buy somewhere in the red zone or top of the red zone, just simply because that trend has been so strong. I would probably be looking your last opportunity, or your strongest opportunity to buy is the next dip, which would probably put us at about, let's just call it at about 77 to, more conservatively speaking, about 85. 80, 85. Let's just go on. Let's just say 80, 85. Somewhere between 80 and 85 may not be a bad purchase, and I think that might be the last time, famous last words, might be the last time you see Solana at these prices, because I do have Solana projected at over $1,200. Did you get? You sold Zill? How much did you get? Go ahead, brag. You got the floor. Brag. How much did you? What'd you buy it for, and what'd you sell it for? We could all live vicariously through you. Now, Avalanche, I think we'll hit this and then we'll call it a day. Avalanche is it really, honestly, I've really given it no attention, but I need to, because it's a chain that's being used a lot, and as I see it, looking at this, no, I'm not going to call it a sleeper, but we have hit a definite floor. We've hit a definite, what I want to say, status where we're not really falling through. We've got, this is theory, purple's theory. That actually shouldn't be. That should be purple. Will we get that low? Don't know that I necessarily would believe that, but I would possibly suggest that if we can get to about $65 to $70 in that range, you probably might want to buy it. It's not a blue chip, but McDonald's money, guys, just put your fingers in your ears. This isn't for you. You guys that are 5 figures and up, if you want something that's going to help you sleep well at night, this would be a good one. This is kind of along like the chain links of the world and the Solanas and all that secondary stuff. It's necessary to the form and function of the new ecosystems that are being built. So Avalanche is definitely one that's an attractive price. One more and we'll get out of here. All right, so this one's been kind of on my radar. There's my sleeper. Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm going to speculate on a few things, guys. And this one makes me, I don't want to say nervous, but this is not something, it's too speculative. Let me do a little primer on what Electroneum is. Electroneum is a micro job site pay thing. For example, someone in Africa, I'm just saying Africa, can do like a micro job and get paid in Electroneum and blah blah blah. It's kind of like Fiverr, if you know anything about what Fiverr is. It's just a weird coin. It doesn't quite have the ecosystem. Everything about it is attractive. It's intense. Its mission statement, stuff like that. But My personal belief is this is an Africa coin, what we call an Africa coin. We haven't talked about Africa coins for a while. ADA Cardano is an Africa coin, but we haven't talked about that for a while. But there's just something about this recently that just hasn't really gotten my attention. However, we are in a second wave done. Very, very easily could see that. Now, if my three-wave theory is working correctly, and it is, if my third week pump for the market is in effect, which I believe that it is, then you are looking at something that is about ready to take off. Percentage-wise, I couldn't tell you, but I am looking at an ISIS line that is considerably higher than where we're at right now. Let me show you. 151%. Now, that doesn't mean that's where we're going to. We have resistance right here. We have resistance right here. So even if we go from here to here, we're still looking at 60%. So if you McDonald's guys want to take a shot at this, you got my blessing. But let's dial this in and see. Are we done falling before the rise? No, we're not. You can very clearly see the indicators are still diving. So I've got markers right here telling you where they're going to go. You got to get into the microfractions, and you are going to need a target marker here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. These are vague numbers, so don't play them to the microfraction of them. Now, where would I see that going? Good question. Yeah, I would probably be playing that one right there. I would probably play that one there. The reason why is because we've already got a foretest floor right there. So yeah, if we go lower, fine, we go lower. But if you get that bought, just sit on it. Just sit on it until you're profitable. Don't sell at a loss. Don't sell at a loss. We are at the bottom on this indicator here, starting to curve up a little bit. Still in the red on that one right there. We don't have the Nubis on this. The bubble is still flaring to the downside. The dragon is still indicating the downside. So we've only got one indicator. This one's basically getting ready to go bullish. This one is bearish. This one's bearish. This one's bearish. So right now we're 4 for 5 ratio to the downside. And so you have very good odds that you'll probably be getting down to this 0.0049 whatever. So if you guys want to do this, I would probably take a position of around about the green one, just be in the safe position, because you can see that's where most of the resistance is right here. So get it, call it good, and wait for it. But you might very well be able to pull out a 30 to 75%, 80%, whatever. And the longer you hold, no one says you have to sell it right away. But just know your exit before you take your entrance. Okay? All right, so that is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. And one more thing I am going to do here, I need to get my numbers up on YouTube because, just not getting any kind of love with the algorithm. So I'm thinking, I'm playing with the idea of letting the live stream just run constantly with advertising on it. And just once in a while, how I used to do my desktop things. I might end up doing something like that. I got to get my sleep straightened out. I've been saying that for 6 months, but I got to get that all taken care of. But what I'm going to be probably doing is I'm probably going to be letting the live stream run, for maybe 12 hours or something like that, and let you guys just kind of, as I get thoughts and stuff, I might chime in and whatever. I know the problem with doing that is people that don't know me, don't know what they're looking at, whatever, will come in. I'll get a bunch of down votes and stuff. This sucks, whatever, and so you just can't win that battle. But I want to make you guys aware that I'm planning on doing that just to hand out, or just to get a little bit more attention for the channel and stuff like that. So again, one more time, if you guys would like to be part of the affiliate thing, let me know right now, and just send me a message on Discord, and I'll be happy to plug you in and get you in that, and we'll be we're ready to go right now. We are going right now, so you guys can start doing that and earning right away by sharing the links and stuff. But that should do it. So, okay. So, till next time, be safe, be good at it. Peace and air grease, baby.